I feel like I'm blessed to have seen from the beginning, like you said, no fans. It was just cutouts of people to...
That was Can we actually talk about that for a second? Because I feel like I would look up in the stands and I would see like Liz's dog up there in a cardboard cutout. Hootie would be up there. My grandfather had a cutout in the stand. Like there were celebrities. Like we just acted like
crazy.
That was normal to just be playing in front of fake people.
And I remember at one point in time we put crowd noise. Oh man, those were the days. But yeah, like back to the serving part. Back to the serving piece. I mean, Mac, she got to witness it as well. Just after the games, you see how many little girls and children and parents and family members waiting for you, no matter how long it takes, just to be able to have a quick conversation with you, to be able to have a quick picture or a quick signing an autograph or something like that. It's really something that's breathtaking if you just step back and just realize that not every university gets that.
And just the impact that we have on them, just like you said, the quick hello.
Yeah.
But it seems like you specifically, I've noticed, like you take the time and you'll talk to everybody because everyone's like, where's Chloe? And I'm like, no, she's probably out on the court talking to every single person. But is that something how you've always been, do you feel like? Just wanting to, give everybody that time of day, never knowing how you could impact them?
Yep. You hit it right on the head. I think it took me this year to realize that it does make a true impact. And whether you are shy or not a personable person or you're introverted, like just doing something to go out of your way or learning to grow, like Box would always tell me, just learning to grow in that kind of way, it does mean a lot to people. And when I see it means a lot to other people, it means a lot to me.
Right.
Welcome back to The Player's Perspective, a podcast hosted by Mackenzie Holmes and powered by Hoosiers Connect. As the official NIL collective of IU Athletics, Hoosiers Connect provides exclusive access to IU student athletes, offering fans an inside look at their lives both in and out of competition. Tune in weekly to hear stories and perspectives from the incredible athletes that make Hoosier Nation proud.
Chloe, welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited for this one because Chloe and I have been through a lot together.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen Chloe really grow up in front of my eyes, and she's turned into, went from someone I didn't know from Greenfield, Tennessee, into someone who is a teammate, a sister, and will be a friend for the rest of my life. So
Absolutely.
I'm very excited about this. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. We just came off a great ranked win versus Ohio State, so we're feeling good.
I want to start from the beginning of your time here, and I'm going to start off with a little story that I think is just, a testament to how far you've come, but it's also funny because Chloe came in COVID year. It was like the first season after COVID not had ended, but it was a COVID year where everyone was in a bubble, and Chloe was an incoming freshman, came in June. You were probably 17 years old, just turned 18, I think.
Just turned 18.
Didn't know anybody because she didn't take a visit here. First of all, let's talk about that. How was it going through the recruiting process via Zoom?
Yeah, it was definitely different. One for the books, I would say. I was recruited mostly for OVC schools, a lot of, schools closer to home, but not as big of a name. Like Mac had mentioned, I had been recruited by IU through Zoom, so that was a little bit challenging because I didn't get to meet any of the staff, any of the girls in person, so I didn't get to know what their personalities were like and get a feel for that, so there was definitely a lot of nerves going into that process.
So she comes in as a freshman, and you had to be moved into a hotel, correct? Because you couldn't get into on-campus housing. So poor Chloe's moved into a hotel room for 6 weeks of summer.
Yeah.
And I get a text from Chloe asking if she can do laundry at my apartment. And I'm like, okay. She said 4 words to me so far. And in my head, I'm like, she's going to get here. Is she going to stay? When I tell you she got here with her laundry, put her laundry in and left, I think we said 2 words to each other the whole time. And I don't think she came back and put it in the dryer. I think I just did it for her and brought it back the next day. But I just think it's so funny how you came in so shy. And maybe it wasn't shy. Maybe you're just observant as a freshman to now who you are as a fifth year and the leader of this program for a few years now. So do you just want to talk about the beginning for you and how you've transitioned yourself and pushed yourself into being that vocal leader?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Actually, it was all of the above. Shyness, nervousness, not knowing what to expect, being an incoming freshman, haven't met anybody. I would say that first year, it was definitely one of my hardest years here, but I think it's one of the years that made me grow the most. As Box would say, he was a former assistant here, great guy, smart coach. He would just say I needed to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that quote has kind of stuck with me throughout my years here at IU.
And that freshman year, I mean, what a way to spend your freshman year. Not only COVID, but we obviously made it to the Elite Eight. And we were just talking the other day about how close-knit that team was.
Absolutely.
I mean, talk about that year for you. Just how it was being a freshman and kind of experiencing the COVID, testing every day, making it to an Elite Eight, just all of those things you experienced in that year.
Yeah, for sure. Which I'd like to say, I think that was one of my most favorite groups out of all time being here. But I think as a freshman, you have a lot thrown at you, and COVID was obviously fresh and new for each and every one of us. But I think what stuck out to me the most about that year is how we, like you said, we were a tight-knit group. We always hung out with each other, always wanted to check on each other and make sure we were good. We'd have our own little gatherings, and they would always be a blast. So, yeah.
They were fun. I mean, it's just, I think that it was COVID, so like all we had was each other,
right.
And so like we made the most out of everything that we possibly could have. We didn't get to go home for Christmas that year, which was, as if I remember being a freshman and like just dying to go home for Christmas, and then to the fact that you had that taken away from you, but we tried to make the most of it.
We made it work. We managed with what we had, and like I said, it was one of my most favorite groups because all we had was each other, and I could sense you guys knew I was having a hard time as a freshman, but each and every one of you were there to support me. So,
and then transitioning into that sophomore year, similar role, I would say, probably at the beginning of the year, and then we had some people, myself, go down with injuries and COVID. So it was kind of the next man up. And then I believe your sophomore year is when you got your first career start. So tell me about how you were prepared for that moment, because I mean, a lot of people would get thrown into that moment and maybe not be ready for it. But do you feel like you were prepared to start when you had to?
Absolutely. I took that freshman year as not expecting to play, but growing just from watching you guys, you, Allie, Grace, Nikki, just taking pointers from each and every one of you. And so I translated that into my game the next year. And like you said, you went down with injury, and then COVID came, people got that. And I'd always knew to always be prepared and stay ready. Coach would always talk about that next man up mentality and how everybody's got to chip in a little bit more when somebody does go down like that. So I would say I was pretty prepared mentally, but I mean physically, everybody's always gonna be faster, stronger, smarter than you, so you just got to go out there and give it your all.
Yeah, and I feel like you adjusted well to that, and I feel like the way that you had to step into that role sophomore year like kind of propelled you into that next year, knowing that you were going to move into that starting role. And then, junior year for you, senior year for me was the Big Ten championship year. So how do you feel do you feel like every year things would stack on top of each other to get you ready for the next year? Like what is your thought process in that?
Absolutely. I mean, our coaching staff, whether they're here now or just the present coaching staff, they've done a great job at developing each and every one of us. So I think that played a big part in it. Like I said, just watching on the sidelines, but just those individual workouts that we would get in helped in my development tremendously.
And for you personally, not only as a player, but as a leader, I feel like it was probably like midway through your sophomore year, I think I heard you like start barking in practice a little bit, and I was like, is that Chloe? And then all of a sudden you kept getting more confident and kept using your voice more and more. And I think because you didn't come in super outgoing like that, that when you did say something, it meant something, because it's like, oh, if Chloe's saying something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you feel like you've transitioned, or do you feel like you've always been a vocal leader and that you just kind of took a little bit of a backseat when you were a freshman, or is that something that was new to you as you got to college?
It was definitely something new to me. I would say I started using my voice when I noticed somebody needed to say something, or it was just more of a mentality of, I'm only a sophomore, but how can I help? I want to help, and not just whether it's scoring or things on the court, but off the court as well, whether it's talking, communicating, keeping the energy up, encouraging, everything like that.
Because I feel like when you're on the sidelines or you're not playing, you sometimes see more than the people who are playing see. So I feel like it's important and overlooked sometimes that you spent that whole freshman year watching and seeing things and learning what was being expected. And then you were able to just carry it over year after year. And then I feel like junior year, you really took a big step development wise. But also as like a vocal leader, and I feel like people really got to see the competitor that Chloe is. So do you want to talk about maybe some obviously hard times, but things you learned about yourself that junior year? Because I feel like for you, that was probably the year where people really got to see who you were.
Yeah, like we had stated earlier, from sophomore year to junior year, that's when I started or became a starter. And I just took on that role of, okay, since I'm starting, I have to set the example for others. So that's really just the mentality I had, and it carried me a long way.
And now then last year was your senior year. Again, great year for you, triple-double. Just, it feels like each year it's like, year after year, it's just more and more development. And now it's your fifth and final year. So has your mindset shifted at all since you've become a fifth year and you know that like it's your last this, your last that? Have you thought about that at all, or is that not really in your...
I mean, yeah, I've thought about it a little bit. I will say I feel like I'm still shifting into the mindset that Coach wants me to be in. She says all the time to me, whether I have a good game, bad game, we go as you go. So I think I'm still kind of learning what that looks like for me and what that looks like for everybody else too.
And do you feel any pressure from that, or is that something that you're kind of like, wow, I can't believe that I went from being this freshman who didn't play to now somebody that is kind of the backbone of this team. How does that make you feel, or what are some emotions that you have tied with that?
Yeah, I think when I have those talks with Coach and Allie, they always ask me that same question, like asking if I feel any pressure with that. And my answer to that is no. I see my position and role as a blessing, and I'm really grateful to be in that role and be able to be that person that people say, hey, we're going to go as you go. So.
And off the court, how do you feel like you find balance between, because obviously we're in the gym most of the day, but now that you're a fifth year, maybe your class load isn't as much. How do you find balance between basketball and just life? Do you have anything you like to do? I know you thrift and do different things like that, but are there any hobbies that you've picked up in your fifth year now that you have more time? Yeah,
I would say several hobbies over the year I've picked up, just because I kind of started understanding and realizing you have to have a balance. You have to have self-care, and it doesn't matter what that looks like. It could be going to the animal shelter, just play with kittens and puppies all day, or just going to Indy to shop, or asking one of my teammates to go out to eat. So, yeah. And people may not know what your undergrad degree was in, because I know that took up a lot of your time too, your first 4 years. So do you want to talk about what you studied and your ability to balance that and how that worked for you? Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that was most challenging for me, is obviously when you're a D1 athlete, you're expected to excel in not only athletics, but in academics as well. So I kind of took it upon myself, I guess, to have a major that was very difficult. I majored in exercise science, minored in psychology, graduated last year with that degree. But I would say taking classes like the sciences, physics, chemistry, anatomy, physiology, all of those, it was really hard because it forced you to study every day. It forced you to ask for help, whether that's a tutor or lower academic advisor. So over the years, I learned how to manage that and realize that it is okay to ask for help. Yeah. That's great. And I feel like some people maybe shy away from those majors and those different things because they don't think they're able to balance it. Was there anything that helped you specifically
I know you said asking for help and getting tutors, but I mean, it felt like to me that you were going to class, going to practice, going home and studying and doing it all over again the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that helped me the most, like you said, was the shyness away from asking for help. But it was more so for me, I felt that there was pressure to have to put basketball over my academics. And I know it's different at every school, but here at IU, they never made me feel that way at all. They let me know, if anything, I do need to put my academics first.
And I think that just goes to show how great, the resources are here.
Absolutely.
But, like, also how interconnected Coach Moore is with, like, the academic side of things and how she understands, like, even when there's finals, like, she's understanding of that and wanting us to take the time to study. So I guess this is my segue into transition to talk about Coach Moore and your relationship with her, because I feel like maybe at the beginning of your time here, you would be scared to go up and sit in her office and talk to her. And I feel like that's a little bit different now. So do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, you hit it on the head. When I came in, it was COVID. I didn't have any relationships in terms of talking to, hanging out with anybody in person. So everything and everyone was new to me. Honestly, I would say it took me my senior year to just decide, you know what, I'm going to go talk to Coach one day. It doesn't have to be about basketball, just about life. I'm just going to go talk to her. And Mac, actually, you helped me tremendously with that. I was just like, I want to go speak to her, but I don't know what to say. Like, what do I say? And you're just like, you can say literally
just
anything
go talk to her.
Just go talk to her. And when I finally did that for the first time, it was like a weight had lifted off my shoulder. I was like, you know what? She's not just my head coach. She's a person as well. So.
Yeah, and she cares and wants to know how you're doing. And
absolutely.
I feel like people maybe don't always see that about Coach. You know what I mean? How lighthearted she actually is, how funny she can be, but also at the same time, just a fearless, confident, and competitive person in general. So do you want to talk about maybe some things you've learned about her in your time here, or just learn from her, I guess I should say?
First things first, she loves The Office.
She does.
I'm not a big fan of The Office, but I know she is. So.
Yes.
And I think another thing to go along with just finally deciding to go up and talk to her, something I've realized and understood about Coach is that she's actually a little bit of an introvert herself. So when it does seem like she hasn't came up and spoken to you or whatever the case may be, it's just because maybe it just takes you reaching out to her, you know, because like I said, she's a human as well. So I think realizing and understanding, oh, she's an introvert too, made me feel a lot better about just our relationship and how to go about it.
You can connect with her for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like something that I really appreciate about Coach is how important it is to her for us to, like, give back. You know what I mean? I feel like she's always, we have the graduate, win, and serve, but like that serve piece, I feel like has been super important to me because, like, just especially with the fans, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like after games, being in the position I'm in now, like, you really get to see the impact that you guys have on the fans. So, like, do you want to talk maybe a little bit about, because your COVID year, there were no fans, and then it went into fans. So do you want to talk about the fans and really what they mean to you and your experience with them?
Yeah, I feel like I'm blessed to have seen from the beginning, like you said, no fans. It was just cutouts of people to...
That was Can we actually talk about that for a second? Because I feel like I would look up in the stands and I would see, like, Liz's dog up there in a cardboard cutout. Hootie would be up there. My grandfather had a cutout in the stand. Like, there were celebrities. Like,
Crazy.
We just acted like...
Crazy.
That was normal to just be playing in front of...
with
fake people.
And I remember at one point in time, we put, crowd noise. Oh man, those were the days. But yeah, like, back to the serving part. Back to the serving piece. I mean, Mac, she got to witness it as well. Just after the games, you see how many little girls and children and parents and family members waiting for you, no matter how long it takes, just to be able to have a quick conversation with you, to be able to have a quick picture or quick signing an autograph or something like that. It's really something that's breathtaking if you just step back and just realize that not every university gets that.
and just the impact that we have on them. Just like you said, the quick hello.
Yeah.
But it seems like you specifically, I've noticed, like you take the time and you'll talk to everybody, because everyone's like, where's Chloe? And I'm like, no, she's probably out on the court talking to every single person. But is that something how you've always been, do you feel like, just wanting to, you know, give everybody that time of day, never knowing how you could impact them?
Yep. You hit it right on the head. I think it took me this year to realize that it does make a true impact. And whether you are shy or not a personable person, or you're introverted, you know, like just doing something to go out of your way, or learning to grow, like boxers always tell me, just learning to grow in that kind of way, it does mean a lot to people. And when I see it means a lot to other people, it means a lot to me.
Right. And I appreciate the fact that, like, they don't care how you played. The fans could care. Like, I just remember my freshman year, I played horrible, like awful, right? And the fan, I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And the fans are like, great job.
Yes.
And I'm just like, thank you. But you know what I mean? And then you realize the bigger picture. It's like, wow, like they just care about who you are as a person, and not about how many points you scored or anything like that. So I just think that is so special about what we're able to do, but like just our fans in general.
No, really. Like, I mean, even last night, for example, played Ohio State, fouled out for the first time in my career.
She was not happy about that, by the way.
No, it was not. I was not. But just,
I've never actually seen Chloe that upset after a foul call. But anywho,
it's fine. We won. It's fine. After I just came out and I seen a whole line of people waiting for me, and I'm like, you guys should be over there with Sydney or Yarden or somebody, because they carried that entire game. But like you said, they just want to see us and speak to us. And I mean, those are true fans, through and through, true fans.
So someone else that I usually see you with after most games is your family, your dad, your sisters, your aunt. Do you want to talk about the influence that they have on you? Because I feel like they're really like your why. You know what I mean? So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. They are my why. They see me at my worst. They see me at my best. But something that never changed is their support and encouragement and resilience that they've had for me. Obviously, my family has been through a lot with my mom passing. But I think in terms of support and being there for me and all the love they show, they haven't skipped a beat.
And with your mom, do you feel like, even though she may not be here, she is also your why, and why you keep going, and why you decide, you know, to do what you do every single day, and push through those hard times?
Absolutely. Just my family in general, but yes, of course, my mom. She's here in spirit always with me, but she's my why as well.
And talk about your sisters a little bit, because I feel like if you see them at the game, you know they're your sisters, because y'all look smack alike. But
Lord, tall and lanky, that's me. That's mine.
Talk about just the influence that you have on them, because obviously you have an influence on, you know, the fans, but these are people, these girls, you know, look up to you so much, and you know, they probably think they have like the world's coolest sister. So do you want to talk about your relationship with them, and did they keep things light for you? So like, do you ever feel like you're really tense after a game or mad, and then, you know, you see them and you just realize it's not that deep?
Yes, seriously. I can be stressed about basketball, but when I look at them, speak to them, it doesn't have to be about basketball anymore. They do keep it light and fresh for me, and I can tell, especially in Dallas and Kylie and Oren's eyes, I could see that they admire me and adore me, and they are lucky and grateful to have me as a sister, but they will never know that I think that about them, but a million times more.
Do you play basketball against your sisters when you go home, or do you kind of like keep that separate? Because they play, right?
Yes, they play. One's in high school, one's in junior high, and the other's just a baby. But when I go home, I really spend time with them off the court, and we just discuss things that are off the court, because we know there's more to life than basketball.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you'll get to a point where you'll want to like start coaching them up a little bit, or do you think you're gonna?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you ever watch them and like wish you could say something, but just kind of like let them do their own thing?
Yes, there's so many times I want to, but I'm like, nah, because I know my dad's already said enough. Right. So I know that feeling. I won't say anything.
Are any of them lefties?
No, they're all right-handed, actually.
I was just curious. I honestly was just curious. I just thought of asking that now. But
yeah, I'm the only lefty.
So growing up, being from a small town in Tennessee, how was that like for you going from a small town in Tennessee to a huge college town that Bloomington is?
Yeah. One word that comes to mind when I think of Greenfield is powerful. When I first committed here, there was some Indiana women's basketball group chat fan page on Facebook, and I was just scrolling and I'd seen somebody say, Chloe just committed here, but the love and support that her Greenfield community has shown by just joining this page is unmatched. And I think that's something that goes under the radar when you do transition from a small town to a bigger, more college-like town. The love and support never goes away.
Right.
If anything, it grows. So just give a shout out real quick to the Greenfield community.
Greenfield.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
And that is true because I feel like I've seen them at some of the games even, and they usually roll pretty deep to the games.
Yeah.
We played at Tennessee 2 years ago, and I think you had, because you have a former teammate who also plays on Tennessee, so there was like probably the entire town of Greenfield at that game.
Literally. Yeah, 2 years ago we played at Tennessee, and I have two former teammates on that team currently, Tess Darby and Edie Darby, excuse me. But when I tell you the entire town was in the stands, there wasn't much of Indiana fans or Tennessee fans. It was Greenfield fans, like the entire way. So it was just cool to see, you know, the guy. I mean, sorry, not the guidance, but the support and how they just showed up for the both of us.
And I can't imagine there's been many times in Greenfield High School's history where there have been two girls in the same class that end up going to a Power 5 school. So that must have been pretty cool. And I would assume you guys were also a pretty solid high school basketball team as well, right?
Yeah, I would say back then, though, we were one of the few teams that had competition and size. So I would say in high school it was a little bit easier, but I mean, yeah, like I said, that community is so strong, so powerful. And like you said, there's always somebody different, but a familiar face at every single game. So
I think I can resonate with that because I'm also from a small town. And as you saw, like when I went back home to Maine to play,
that was crazy.
Yeah, like there were just so many people. But I feel like because even though it's a small town, like everyone knows everyone. I'm sure you knew like all of your classmates and all of their parents' names and where they live. Like I feel like those tight-knit communities like that, though it can be hard because everyone knows everything about each other, but they do show a lot of support and really just follow in what you do and genuinely care. So I think that's really cool that you have been able to experience the continued love and support. So it's like you almost grew another fan base too coming to Indiana.
Absolutely.
But you think the transition was smooth for you coming to a college town, or was it a little overwhelming at first with all the students?
I think it was only overwhelming at first because, like I said, the freshman year with COVID and everything being online and homesickness definitely took a toll on me. But when we got back to everything pretty much normal, in person, can see people, can hang out with people, I actually enjoyed it a lot because I seen a lot of different cultures that I wasn't used to seeing every day at Greenfield School. So, you know, yeah, I think I liked it a lot better here.
And I know that we have a lot of basketball left to play, but looking for your last few months of college, what is that going to look like for you? Are you in the moment? Are you thinking about what's next? What is that? Are you going to try to continue to play? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I guess I'm trying to do a little bit of both. Stay in the moment and be grateful for each and every, not just game, but practice and moments I get to spend with you guys and the staff and the girls. But also trying to realize, you know, time does fly and my future and life outside of college basketball is around the corner. So I think I'm just going to, you know, put my name in the draft, declare for it.
As you should.
See where it goes.
Should.
But if I don't make it there, I plan on going to an ultrasound technician school for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like no bad option there, huh?
Yeah, no.
And as you look back, I guess, have you done some reflecting on your time here and thinking about, we're creeping in on senior night, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have to talk too much about it.
No, let's not today.
But it's been really remarkable, Chloe, what you've been able to do here. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure if you were a freshman and you went back and told yourself everything, freshman you would be like, no way, right? So I think it's just, it's important for you to look back at that, but know that the future is also so bright. And, usually at the end of these, I like to give you the space to kind of talk about anything you want to talk about with you specifically, maybe just a couple remarks or reflections on things that you've gone through. But anything particular you want to say before we close this out?
I think I would just like to say I'm so grateful for my time here. Like you said, there's still some time left, but
we're far from being done.
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah, not finished yet.
Not finished yet. Far from it.
Yeah, but just looking back on all the challenges and hard times, like the Kev workouts, the 23 challenge, the lifting the weights, and hardly being able to get the bar up. Like those times when I thought I was struggling and really going through it, I look back now and I'm like, those are the things that helped me grow. Those are the things that helped me become such a woman of strength, which is what I am today.
And I think that, people, they either do two things, they keep going or they quit. And I think, you're a perfect example of trusting the process and just grinding. But thanks, Chloe, I love you.
I love you.
This was fun. So thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
And we're far from done.
Period.
We hope you loved this episode of Players Perspective. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Stay connected with Hoosiers Connect on social media for even more exciting content featuring IU student athletes. Until next time, Hoosier Nation.